on September 11, 2001, I was cooking breakfast at one of my hunting camps in western Alaska. It's 90 miles north of Dillingham. The satellite phone rang, and it's my wife. And she called, and tearfully, she was telling me that 2 planes just run into the World Trade Center. And I'm thinking, and she says, you can't believe the devastation and the destruction that's happened and the loss of lives. And it was just, when I heard that, it was just so hard to wrap my mind around that this was going on. And anyway, so I thought, yeah, and she said, oh, by the way, the airplanes are grounded. And I went, out here in the wilderness, my little Super Cub, they're not talking about that. She said, all planes. I said, well, I don't have to fly right now, but I do have to fly. That's the only means of transportation out here. I mean, I'm 300 some miles from Anchorage. I'm out, no roads, do anything like this. So I go, okay. So I continued to cook breakfast. And we had 2 clients, 2 packers, and 2 guides. Anyway, as they come in, I explained this to them. And again, they looked at me like, you must be crazy. No, I said, this happened. And I don't think they believed me until we turned on the radio. And the radio, we do have a little radio, and we listen to the public radio station. And it is down in Dillingham. And they usually have tapes that runs all the time. But at about 9 o'clock, someone comes on and he starts talking about what was going on. Of course, that meant everybody thought the same, you're telling me the truth, basically. And this is just crazy that it happened. Everybody's trying to figure out why and who did it and all this kind of good stuff. But I kept saying, well, okay, it's happened. We got to continue on. I said, let's just go and about our day. Nothing we can do about it. So we went on our hunt that day. I went with one of the guides, and that was John Colway. And the packers say, wait, I want to go too. And I think mainly just because of they would be the only people there. They say, hey, we'll go with you guys. So everybody went. We went up, had a very nice day, ended up taking a caribou. So that's my business. That's why we're out there. Anyway, we make it back that evening, and there's been more things that's happened. We've got a plane hit the Pentagon, one that's forced down, and you're going, we are going to war. And here we are out here. What's going to happen? I mean, if we can't fly, what's going to happen? Anyway, so that was a really big deal. And then I'm worried about the clients. Now the clients, they have no idea what's going on. No. So the next morning I called Phil Bingman at Freshwater Adventures. He's a flying service in Dillingham. He's bringing some of my clients in. I told him, I'm going to fly today, Phil. Phil says, no, you can't fly. FAA says no flying. I says, yeah, I'm just this little Super Cub out here. They won't even know. He says, hey, they've actually forced somebody down in a Super Cub with an F-15 from Elmendorf. So you don't need to be flying. I go, okay, well, I really don't have to today, but I'm got to get the food out there. I got to tell them what happened and this. He said, so the very next day I call, he says, nope, still grounded. I'm getting things ready because I want to fly and go tell these people what has happened. And anyway, I finally, that afternoon he called me. I took the food items and everything over to the boat, over across the lake, got in the Super Cub. And the first camp I landed is about 7 miles away. And I walked down to the tent with the food, and here's a note saying, we're walking back to camp. And I'm thinking, no one's ever done that. That's 7 miles. It's a long way across nothing but muskeg, tundra, and different things. And anyway, they had actually seen me land. So when I come back around, or when I walked up to the airplane, I looked over the hill and I could see them coming up the hill. So when they came up, I explained to them what happened. And of course, it was like disbelief. And I actually got choked up because of the tragedy that I was telling them about. But anyway, they said, okay, we really thought there was something wrong because we hadn't seen any airplanes. We hadn't seen little planes, big planes, nothing. So we thought maybe you crashed or maybe you didn't. Maybe there's something bad, but we didn't think it was this bad. I say, okay, I'll check on you again tomorrow. I left, went to the other camps, come back to the main camp, and again, there was nothing else we could do. We actually did not see any pictures or anything for the next, until September the 20th. September the 20th, we had 2 New York City police officers that had booked a hunt a couple of years ago. They were coming on a caribou hunt, and they came in and they had a picture of a New York newspaper with the planes flying into the towers. And they said, we didn't know if you knew of anything that happened, but we were there. We actually went through the rubble. We actually pulled bodies out of the rubble. And so for us, that was that's firsthand information, probably even better than people watching TV, but still being out there, that was when we really felt, by seeing the picture and everything, the brunt of really exactly what had happened. Being a long season, I didn't get home until October 24th when I watched the video of the plane hitting the towers. It was like it just happened. And I still, then, I couldn't believe that this happened on the U.S. soil, that this happened to the U.S., which it could happen in other countries, but not to us. But that was my 9/11.